War Eagle, War Report family. You already know what it is. It's your boy C Dub, your show host here. Auburn versus South Florida. It's the pregame show presented to you by Prize Picks. Guys, please be sure to head over there where if you use code Rapport, they will match you 100% up to $100 for your first deposit. Shout out to Prize Picks for being supporter of this show. I am joined by B Will. B Will, how are we doing? What do we got here?
All right, man. We're doing all right. See, what we're going to do is we're going to put together a little Prize Picks ticket, right? We're going to start off by searching Auburn in the search bar. This is after selecting college basketball as a sport. You got to do that because it'll default to NBA because NBA is bigger, of course. It's going on tonight. So you find the CBB button up there at the top, and we're going to search for Auburn. So we got a couple of propositions here. KD Johnson's points, KD Johnson's rebounds, his assist. Same thing for Wendell Green, Janai Broome as well. You know what? So I was looking at Janai Broome's stats from last game. He actually came in with, I think it was 4 rebounds. Really, it was 4 or 2. It went a lot. But here's the thing about Janai Broome, and really all the guys. We went 10 guys deep last game, all right? Nobody's going to be on the floor for 35 minutes to pile up all these high stats, especially not against a team where we stand to run them off the floor probably by early second half. So my guess here, if I had to guess on Wendell Green points, I am going to put him on there and say less than 14.5 points for Wendell. Can he get it? Yes, he can. I just don't think there's a need for him to score so much when we've got so many other people on the floor. Trey Donaldson got some meaningful minutes, which means he's going to be running point as well. And Wendell won't be out there unless we're in a kind of a dogfight of a game. And we don't think that's going to be the case. So I'm going to go under on Wendell's points. All right. So KD is a wild card. He shoots a lot of shots. He can get 13.5 points. No problem. Will he shoot well enough to get those 13.5? I can't say. I'm going to stay away from KD because it's not, I can't say for certain. You know, we want to see him have.
If for this game, I would stay away from KD.
Yeah, I'm going to stay away from KD as well. I couldn't call it one way or another. Now, I'm looking at Janai Broome right here. Points 12.5. He could definitely get it. He could definitely get it. He's a pro down there. However, I'm going to throw, you know what? I'm going to go wishful thinking. A little more efficient. Gets a few more garbage time. Not garbage time, but easy buckets. Clean up rebounds and buckets there. I'm going to go over. I think Janai can come down with a smooth 13, 14 points. All right. So want to find one more. And let's go to some of the wider selection on the games up here. So we got Baylor. We know they're in action. They've been playing pretty well so far, as has UCLA. I was tracking them for the first game. They made me a little bit of money. You know, it was a good game for me. So I'm going to go down here to the guard forward, Jamie Jacquez Jr. He's a baller. Plain and simple. He's a baller. They have another scrub team tonight. So I am going to pick the over for Jamie Jacquez Jr., and that will be our ticket. Now we're going to go flex play here. That means if any one of these lose, it's cool. You get some money back. If we hit power play, then that means you got to hit everything or it fails. We don't want that type of pressure right now. So we're going to go, you know what? Easy. $10 to win 20 to 50. I'm going to place that entry. And we have just placed our ticket for the night with prizepicks.com, a great sponsor of the show. We appreciate them, and we appreciate y'all for joining us for the basketball pregame show.
Again, guys, a reminder, please be sure to head over to Prize Picks, where for your first deposit, they will match you 100% up to $100 on the first deposit. Appreciate Prize Picks for being supporter of our pregame experience. Be Will. How we doing, man? How we feeling about this game? Auburn is 1-0. 1-0. Looking to go 2-0 against a South Florida team who is 0-1, looking to get their first victory of the season. It's at home. You already know it's going to be a raucous atmosphere in Jordan, and not Jordan here, but Neville Arena. How you feel about this game, man?
I feel good because South Florida's sorry. So I'm feeling real good. I like when we play sorry teams. I like predictable. I like knowing what to expect. I like the effort that we showed last game. knowing that we're that deep. We had 10 guys come in, but what's happening is when you get a guy like Chris Moore off the bench, he wasn't getting much playing time last year. So when he gets in the game, effort, effort,
Mm-hmm.
effort, effort, rebounds, defense, hustle plays, scrambling for the ball. What happens when you go that deep is everybody's vying for minutes. Everybody's trying to prove their worth. We don't have the best outside shooting right now. We know that. We understand that. But I also expect that a couple guys who weren't 100%, whether it was flu or I think an ankle for Broom. I forgot what it was for Flanny. I think was it flu for Flanny last game? He was
Yeah.
questionable, but he played.
Yeah.
I think all those guys are going to be feeling great. They're going to be out there to start to clean up some of the things that they could have done better. The wildest wild card for us is always, will the outside shots fall and will our most aggressive scorer be a efficient scorer? And that's Katie Johnson. Who knows? I don't know. I just know that our defense is going to get us so many possessions. I don't think it's going to matter, man. I think we blow them out. I think we blow them out by at least 18. I think the spread is 20. Dicey. Dicey. We don't shoot well enough to just bury people unless they are so poor on offense that we can turn them over repeatedly, which is not out of the question. So I expect to see around that cover. I don't know if we'll get it though. I don't know if we get it.
Well, let me share this with you. Last year, Auburn played South Florida as well.
Mm-hmm.
The final score was 58-52.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point in the first half, Auburn was actually down by 15 points. So Bruce Pearl has already given South Florida a lot of credit for being a very good defensive team.
Mm-hmm.
And he expects them to be good defensively this year. Now, before we went live, I mentioned to you that the shortest person on their team is 5'9".
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else is 6'3" and up.
Yep.
Does that concern you get with our guard play? You was wondering about how well our guards would shoot from the perimeter. Well, something Ike has pointed out a lot is when we're matched up against good defensive teams that have taller guards, our guard play tends to kind of suffer a bit. Any
Right.
concerns about that?
I have less concerns for two reasons. Number one, we saw them last year. That's number one. All right. So what they did to stifle us early, I'm sure Bruce and staff have done a good job of preparing us for. Number two, um, we don't have the same person starting. So Wendell is starting out the gate. He can move the ball around very well. We didn't really have a ball handler truly outside of Wendell last year. We only had one. This year we've got one. We got two in Donaldson. A possible, if you consider a healthy Flanny when he's full strength. And I think they'll have a better idea of how to attack this defense. And that's really the most important thing for our guys is they've got tape, they've got film. Bruce went as far as to say game one, the reason our exhibition game wasn't shown on any channel is because he didn't want to give George Mason tape on us. Tape is an advantage, and that's why we've got an advantage, I think, in this game. Even though they can defend very well, we understand that. They have just as hard a time shooting, and we're at home this time, and that makes a big difference.
Let's talk about free throw shooting, and that's something that Lawrence pointed out here. We'll get to some of you guys' comments. He says, let's work on these free throws. Auburn was 18 of 29 from the charity stripe earlier this week against George Mason. What do you expect to see there from a free throw shooting standpoint?
We don't have a lot of guys who have a lot of outside touch, so it's no surprise that we're not great at the free throw line. That's just kind of expected. Every now and then you get some type of weird dichotomy where a guy is great shooting, but he can't hit free throws. Like I think about Bruce Bowen shooting a good percentage from like the corner three. He would always hit it, but he couldn't hit a free throw to save his life. It was wild. But we don't have great shooters, so we're not great shooting free throws. I don't know any other way to get better at that than to just have these guys do it. Like they got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
I looked at South Florida's numbers from their first game. Their free throw shooting wasn't that well. It wasn't that good. So I think we're kind of even on that. Their outside shooting wasn't that good either. So I think we're kind of level there. But the home field should give us an advantage as far as 3-point shooting and free throw shooting. It's not that South Florida is definitely going to be intimidated by this atmosphere, but road and home discrepancies in these percentages is kind of like a given. So we'll have an advantage in things that we aren't necessarily great at. I just hope it improves. To your point, Lawrence, I really hope we get a little better at free throw shooting because we're not great at it.
Daniel Owen says we're going to get some highlights tonight. I think you feel the same way, right, B?
I'm hoping so. I don't know if we got just a rim killer like we had last year in Devin Cambridge. I don't know if we have that guy. Well, Jalen Williams might be the closest one, I think, just because he's got the height and the length to really just be at the rim on people like that. But we don't
Yeah.
have just somebody with the bunnies like Cambridge had this year. But I mean, who knows? You know what I'm saying? Somebody could break out. I'm waiting on Trey Orr coming into his own is really going to be when we turn a corner as a team. He's an offensive player primarily. My guess is they're bringing him along defensively. Bruce wouldn't have him on the floor if he wasn't coming along and showing effort on defense. But when Trey Orr gets fully rounded out, man, he's gonna be serious.
I'm curious to see what they do, how they incorporate the screen and roll, the pick and roll with this year's team. As the season went on last year, that became a big part of the offense, and
Right.
Kessler got a lot of lobs thrown his way early on in the season. So it's curious to see as Trey Orr and Broom get involved in the offense, even Dylan Cardwell at times. Um, if we see highlights like that. I still think that's a definite possibility. I know Broom brings a different dynamic with his game. I'm impressed with his post game. B. I think he showed glimpses of it in Israel. We saw some more of it again at George Mason. I think that's for real, and I'm curious to see how this offense, the identity of this offense, do they work inside out, or do they follow the same game plan as last year with
Right.
the high screen and roll? Remains to be seen. Remains to be
Right.
seen for sure.
But to your point, though, see that's why we can think. I think Janai Broom, the longer they have him on the floor, and also when Trey Orr comes along, he's got a better inside offensive game than Kessler had or Jabari had, and so does Janai Broom. We're gonna have to be an inside out team. Now it doesn't mean that we're gonna hit those outside looks that get made off of being an inside out team, but I think we're gonna get to a point, hopefully, where we can just toss the ball to a guy and say, "Hey, go get it." Create some mid-range shots for Trey Orr. Broom, take advantage of some one-on-one matchups on the block. I don't think we're going to be too far from that. The question is, do we start seeing that tonight? Who knows? They may just be trying to get guys, in the groove right now. But I'd love to see some different things offensively, in addition to the pick and roll. We should have some opportunities there.
Auburn led the way with 10 blocks against George Mason. Again, we talked about how good this defense is. The defense was led, especially in blocks, by Dylan Cardwell, who had half of them joints, them bad boys. Expect to see more of the same with him again tonight.
Heck yeah, man. He's taken the challenge. I think that everybody said that Flanagan took as well before he was out for the last game sick, but he and Flanagan have taken that. Let's see what the NBA has to say. Oh, so I'm not good enough, huh? Okay, bet. And that's a personal challenge. That's a professional challenge. And they seem to have taken it. I think we were all, I don't want to say down on Caldwell last year, but you saw that there was a lot left that he could improve upon. And I didn't expect him to improve as much as he improved. Seeing him play in Israel and the exhibition in the first game as well. It's like, okay, he tangibly got better. He's catching the ball better, getting his hands on the ball more consistently and blocking more consistently. I thought Kessler was a great get out of your way and still block your shot type guy. And Cardwell probably got a little more body on people when he was blocking shots, but he's been doing a great job blocking shots so far this season. So hopefully he keeps doing that.
And he's always been really good defensively. It's just that if it wasn't a hustle play, him getting a rebound or put back, Dylan looked lost at times on offense. He doesn't look as lost now.
Right.
And I think that's one of the biggest improvements is that they actually have a fifth guy on the floor that other teams may have to actually account for. And I think that makes the lineup much better when Dylan is out there, as opposed to being a high energy guy. On top of that, he actually is showing a little bit of competency on offense, which is good to see. John Brannon says, let the gummies have the night off.
Let's hope.
Listen, I'm asking you because, and again, shout out to Rogue Shop, another sponsor of the War Rapport. Enter code Rapport to get your gummies 10% off on their products. Shout out to them for supporting us. B, are we using any gummies tonight?
You know what? No, we're not, because I'm out and I can't. So I'm not using any gummies. So I hope they don't stress me out tonight. I'm hoping they don't.
Oh man. No, I don't think we'll need any gummies tonight. Hopefully I'm not jinxing us and we end up being a 2 gummy night, but I'm gonna go with no. I'm gonna go with no here. I think we do okay tonight. I really
Okay.
do. I think we'll have a good night for sure. Let me ask you about Alan Flanagan. Alan Flanagan, much has been made about the fact that he's returning to his old self. Flanagan had 3 points against George Mason. He was 0 for 5. He was really good defensively, had 2 rebounds. What do you expect to see from Alan Flanagan tonight?
Hoping he feels better. Well, we heard he was questionable, just like
Yeah.
Janai Brown was. So, when you get flu-like symptoms, man, you don't feel like yourself. So, I want to see what everybody's been talking about, in the preseason for him and practices for him. They said other players specifically said this is 2020 Flanagan that we're seeing in practice. Cool. That's what I wanted. That's the guy we all thought was going to be first team All SEC last season, and coming back from that Achilles, he never got right. So, I want to see it. I'm hoping that we see that outside shot fall a little more. Him being a little more fluid driving to the basket. That's one thing that changed for him between the 2019-2020 season and the 2021. Wait, I messed it up. 2020 to 2021 season, that season, and coming into the previous season that we just played, where he came in injured. He did not look like he trusted his leg or his foot yet. It's like, yeah, he's gonna drive, but it was all muscle. Like there was no fluidity, there was no finesse to it. So I'm really hoping that that's out of his head, or that he's trusting that heel a little more, and he can be a magnificent driver. Like I remember highlights of his 2021 season,
Mm-hmm.
and like he was doing it, like he was handling the ball so well, which is why I always thought Flanagan could be kind of a part-time ball handler for us. But last season he couldn't do it well without turning the ball over, and I think that's what I want to see from him tonight. I want to see him drive well, but I also want to see him handle the ball. I want to see him bring it up court and run a little offense with him,
Mm-hmm.
through him. I think he's got the potential. He's got the skill set for it. But let's see if he's out of his head like he was last season, and back to being himself.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Flanagan just never looked comfortable last year. Seems
Right.
like he just never got comfortable, especially in the offense. Whether he was shooting or driving to the basket, he just seemed kind of out of control at times and not really in control.
Right.
So I'm looking, if we see that, then that's a good start.
Mhm.
A person who's settled and can play within the offense. So I'm curious to see if he's able to do that. Chris Moore had 8 points, 3 of 5 shooting. So he definitely provided some production coming off the playing for the Auburn. Let's talk about Zep Jasper. Zep Jasper. He went 1 of 7. Really didn't shoot the ball well. What do you expect to see from him in this game? It seems like he did try to force some shots at times, but what do you think about Zep in this game?
Well, they told him to be more aggressive. He said he was working on shooting the ball more. So you can see the increased intention of becoming more of a scorer. I don't want to make too much of it after one game. I always wondered, and I think we wondered this before the first game. We were like, okay, yeah, he shot a really high percentage and he shot it well when he shot it, but he shot it within the offense. He just he took what was given to him, what the
Yeah,
defense allowed him to get and what the offense allowed him to get, on kind of like taking what was left after KD and Wendell and Jabari had gotten their shots. And he was great at that. Does becoming more of a focal point offensively change how efficient you can be? For some people, it does. It absolutely does sometimes. So hopefully he can, if he's going to take on that increased role, he can be as efficient as he was last season. Because I think he was our highest percentage 3-point shooter at a certain point of the season, outside of Jabari. Jabari was our highest by far, but Zep was
yeah,
was almost money from downtown late in the season, but he just didn't take a lot of them.
right,
So if
right.
he's going to take more, I want him to get back to that efficiency. I hope he can, or maybe it's an issue where, hey, maybe you just primarily handle the ball. You get this ball up court, play defense, and when you get a spot up open three, you're just going to hit it. Don't force it so much.
Right, right. He was 0 for 2 from 3-point land, 1 for 7 overall. I expect to see again. I think he's the type of guy he's going to take his shots when they're there. I thought it was interesting that he was actually trying to be more aggressive and take opportunities. But I think what he's been dangerous is when he takes what the defense gives him, when he
Right.
happens to be open.
Right.
You basically have to account for him regardless of who else is on the floor with him, whether it be KD or Wendell or whoever. Um, let's get to some of the comments. Some of you guys have been commenting here. Some non basketball comments. Lawrence Robinson says, in other news, Alex McPherson is kicking tomorrow.
Shout out to Walt Taylor. He brought it up on the weekend tailgate, saying that this is how we preserve the young guys' eligibility is without burning his red shirt. So they were very careful about that. And I'm glad that we get to see somebody else kicking. Listen, Andrews Carlson, he's a staple here. The Carlson family is, as far as kicking goes. He's not right. He's not right enough to get the job done. If a guy's not getting the job done, got to see what else we got. We don't go out and get the best kicker in the nation every 4 or 5 years for no reason, man. Let's see what this guy has. So hopefully we aren't putting too much. I keep hoping that this game don't come down to a field goal, because even if he's a great kicker, your very first game, in with the energy that's going to be in this stadium, with what this game is going to mean, with Caddy as a head coach making his home head coaching debut, I don't want so much pressure to be on this kid that he blows it. So hopefully we're just good enough that the game is in hand. I would love that we don't even have to rely on field goal kicking.
Yeah, for sure. But gotta have them ready though. Gotta have them ready for sure. Aaron Ross says, will Coach Caddy make an appearance at the game tonight?
I don't know. That sounds
Don't
like
know.
a good idea.
Don't know. Again, I don't know. I know one of the things is that the previous or the current staff got a lot of criticism for, but they work for a guy, is a lot of those guys went on the road recruiting on Friday nights. So I don't know what Caddy's MO is, if he's going to be present at the game or if he's trying to recruit still for Auburn or what he's doing. So we'll have to see. We got a facts or not question. B. Will. John Brandon asks, facts or no, we score more than 75 points tonight. What you think?
I'm gonna say no, because South Florida does defend pretty well. I could see us high 60s, low 70s, 68 to 74. But I also don't know, Jack, about what we're about to do, because who knows?
Yeah, I think South Florida is a better defensive team than George Mason. Auburn scored 70 earlier this week. I do expect it to be more of a low scoring affair, especially with it being two defensive oriented teams. Would love to see it if Auburn reaches over 75, but again, there's a lot that Auburn has to work out offensively. So I'm going to say nah on here, that we don't score more than 75 tonight. Hope I'm wrong though. B. Will, do you have any predict? What is your prediction of this game? You've already kind of said it. You want to give a score?
If I had to guess, I'm gonna say 71-55. I think we win
71-55.
somewhere between 14 and 18. We win. If it's less than that, then I'm not gonna let them stress me out, because I don't have anything to subdue stress here with me. So I'm just gonna, walk around, pace a little bit, and I think we win this game. We're not gonna lose this game, but I'd be disappointed if we lose, if we win by less than 12 points. I would be disappointed. But I say a 14 to 18 point margin of victory is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe like 59-71, something like that.
Yeah,
probably last minute free throw or something at the end of the game. I'm gonna go that. I'm going. We got some scores here. Yohari Butler says Auburn 70, South Florida 62. Not too far off. Not too far off for sure. You said you'd be disappointed if it's less than 12. So 70 to 62 would be disappointed for UB?
It would. That means we still not shooting well from outside is what that means. So I think a lot of guys shot poorly in game one. I hope we remedy that tonight in this game. But South Florida can defend, though, and that's what happens. We already are not a great shooting team. When you have a really good defensive team playing you, it can hold you down. So it will be up to how well we defend, rebound, get some easy buckets, and kind of run them out the gym, which is possible. It's possible in this arena, in this atmosphere. It's always possible. So we'll see.
What do you expect to see from Jalen Williams in this game?
You know what? That's a great question. I always thought that Jalen Williams, while he is serviceable in a lot of ways, because he couldn't really dribble well, he wasn't a prolific dribbler. And I don't mean like Allen Iverson handles. I mean, like, if you are out there on the wing, can you do a little jab step, do a little pump fake, get your guy in the air, 1, 2 dribbles, and finish cleanly? It's like Jalen plays a little slower than that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes me always question, what is his role going to be? I mean, he's going to give that effort, and he has the size, and that's why you love having him out there. That 3-point shot, he has the size to get it off, but it's a little slow of a release as well, and that's always my concern with him. So I don't know who South Florida's primary defenders are. I don't know who their wing defenders are, and that's what would have me saying, what is he going to do? Well, let's see what they got out there. If they got somebody with that 6'6" or above that has the foot speed to defend the perimeter, then I'd say they could probably slow Jalen down quite a bit. But also, we're going to rotate so many guys, man. I don't know if it matters which guy gets the production. It just makes me wonder which of their guys, which of our guys, excuse me, are going to get the production. But it's still going to come down to how well South Florida can defend, because a good defensive team, as we saw for us last year, we might not have been able to shoot, but we stayed in every single game we played because we could hold people down. So hopefully they don't do that to us. But Jalen, I don't know. I'm not concerned with how many points he gets, but how is he getting them? That's what I want to see. I want to see him drive and finish more often.
Okay. South Florida is led by it's all in one game of the season, but the leading scorer of their last game was Keyshawn Bryant, who's actually a grad transfer from South Carolina.
Okay.
He's kind of like the guard forward, kind of plays at 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
What do you expect to see in terms of how Auburn reduces him? Do you think he goes off and gets 19 around that, or does he have a struggle night to night?
Well, the leading scorer for George Mason was somebody that everybody was hyping up, and then we held him to less than 10 points.
Yeah.
We're gonna hold down their primary scorer. I don't think that's a question. We'll be prepared for that. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm
Okay.
just looking forward to see how this is gonna go.
Okay. John Brandon says the over under is, that's an interesting over and under. Spread is 20.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So 74 to 54, and you get about 128, and that's your under. Or if it's higher, yeah, I could see them. I see them covering. I wouldn't be surprised if they covered. I'm not betting on
I
this
won't be
game.
surprised if they covered either.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they covered, but I would not touch that over under. We might not be the best scorers, but great defensive teams can lead to easy points. And if we can execute well on the defensive end, we should be able to run up the score.
Lawrence Robinson says, "Be will. You can have bourbon if you don't have gummies."
Very good point. It's a very good point.
Okay.
I have
All
some.
right. I think you just gave B Will an idea, Lawrence. So Spicy Penguin, he's close to the line. He's 79-61. So
Yeah, 14-18. That's about where I'm at. Yeah.
Jason Payday says 76-51. So Auburn would definitely cover under those circumstances. John Brannon, 76-58. For sure. For sure. Yohari Butler says, would love to hear y'all's opinion about Jabari's season thus far. In my honest opinion, he's playing way too passive and unsure of himself, needs to attack the rim. His shooting is off. Have you had a chance to watch much of Jabari so far, B?
I haven't. I don't have Game Pass, and the Rockets aren't on TV much. I do check their scores, check his stat lines after the games. So what I'm seeing is I saw a 3-point game from him. I'm like, ugh. Now, one thing is he's on the score. He's on the same team with a alpha scorer in Jalen Green, like a Allen Iverson type of volume. Not necessarily efficiency is his deal. He's just like a killer scorer. So, I don't know how much of that is they are going to let that guy get his shots and rhythm and flow for everybody else be damned. I have no idea. I have not seen a game of theirs and watched it thoroughly enough to know exactly what's going on. But I know what Jabari is capable of. So, but we had the benefit of making Jabari the feature here. I mean, early on, he was kind of playing the background until we figured out what to do with him. And then he was off to the races. So the difference in the NBA is you kind of have to get in where you fit in unless you have a coach who's going to say, hey, no, everybody's touching the ball, like what they did at Golden State. It's going to be about everybody for everybody. And that may not be the situation he's in Houston. So he's got some time, though. I think a lot of early players, though, Paolo Banchero, he's really playing
man.
well. He's been balling.
Oh man,
So.
he's looking like every bit of the number one draft pick for sure.
Yeah, but he is also on the team as the primary scorer, where his job is to be the primary scorer. Because I think Cole Anthony he can score as well, but he's a distributor. So he's Jabari. The role he's in is not great for him to shine brightest yet, and maybe that's something that works itself out over the course of the season. Maybe it takes a couple of years, so we will see. But I mean, we all room for Jabari, and we see the potential, so we know it's there.
Some very disrespectful scores, but funny. I am Hop says 176-16. That would definitely make news if we did that to them. Delta Safari says Infinity. Auburn will continue to keep scoring even after the night to pie. I like it. Well, we
engineering major, Delta.
I know, right? We're about to get out of here because the game is about to start. Guys, we will definitely catch you tomorrow. We probably won't have a post. We won't have a post game tonight, but we will catch you tomorrow for the pregame of the Auburn Texas A&M matchup. Be Will and I will be back. We will see you guys then. Enjoy the game tonight. Those of you who will be able to access it. As always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.